welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube and Instagram, with new episodes on Tuesdays. We've made it! It's the end of the world as we know it. Graduation Day Part 2. Season 3. Finale.
I'm a survivor.
There's so many songs that are coming to mind, right? That's one. End of the World as we know it.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
much,
a good one, actually.
So much. I was just singing that before we got on here because I was just thinking about recording.
As we know it. Nice.
Yeah, so season 3 finale, definitely the closing of a chapter for the show.
And for a lot of people and a lot of things. And
high school. And for me, personally, the show is kind of like 1 through 3 and 4 through 7.
Huh,
I don't know if that's because I started watching in season 4 when I was like 13 or whatever. I don't know if that's why I see it that way. But it's also post-high school years, and I think like adult years now, like being a grown-up years, I guess, kind of. I think so. There's a couple more than just, I think, than where I fell starting to watch it. So yeah, big chapter closing in the show today.
Okay.
Episode. So yeah, we're talking about Graduation Day Part 2, which originally aired July 13th, 1999, and was written and directed by Joss Whedon. And the synopsis is, as the hours tick away to the fateful graduation of Sunnydale High School's class of 1999, the impending doom of the mayor's ascension and transformation into pure demon hangs heavy with Buffy. With Angel near death, Buffy must risk her own life and defy the orders of the Watchers Council in order to lead a campaign to save the world. Do we have any thoughts off the top of our...
Well, I was wrong with my question of the week.
Oh, yes.
And I think I missed actually everybody who did die. So I only caught one or two. It was a good episode. It was solid.
Go ahead.
I thought it was going to be, I don't know, like, I'm not going to say I was disappointed, but I thought it was going to be, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just slightly anticlimactic.
Yeah, I think it got wrapped up a bit quickly, like the actual battle.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Just something felt a little off or missing or something, but it was a good episode overall still. It tied up a lot of loose ends, which I was looking forward to having tied up.
Mm-hmm.
There's still one that I'm very curious about, but...
What is that? Or do you not want to say?
Well, I mean, Faith is still lying in a hospital bed. Like, what are they going to do with that? Like, I mean, it sounds like she can't really wake up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Ice. Putting on her ice in case it ever works to bring her back. Put her on ice. Yeah, so we start the episode with the previously on, and it's just basically, we get reminded that Oz and Willow did it. And then everything with Buffy and Angel, the mayor, Buffy and Faith, like Buffy stabbing Faith, and Faith getting carted away unconscious in the back of the truck. So we basically picked up right where we left off at Faith's apartment. Buffy is like looking over and is like so shocked that she's had this like confrontation with Faith and that she stabbed her.
Yeah.
And is assuming she killed her at this point. Yeah. And Buffy just like kind of like drifts away and goes down a ladder and takes Faith's knife with her as the mayor is coming in with his lackeys. And obviously the place has been trashed.
And he can see that Faith's not there, and he's visibly shaken.
He is. Like, this is like the most like emotional we've seen him. Like,
it really is. Like, he doesn't lose his cool very often. So this was, watching him be like this. He's like yelling at his lackeys to find her.
He's like, she'll be okay. She'll be okay. Like, he just
repeats it.
Yeah, he is like genuinely cares about her. And yeah, like he's very worried about her. Yeah. So then we go to the credits and we come back and we're at the library and Xander and Giles are researching Olvicon demon, which is what they think that the mayor's going to turn into. So they're looking for any kind of information on the weaknesses or anything, or even hat size, as Giles says.
And there's no word from Buffy.
Yeah, and Cordelia comes in to complain that Wesley's upset and he's leaving the country, which this is so weird. Like, I took the phone with him, and she says, well, Giles says something along the lines of like, well, he no longer like Buffy quit the council.
You got fired. You're still hanging around
like a loser.
Yeah, like a big loser. Why can't he?
Why can't he? That was great. That was a great line.
Cordelia had a few good lines in this.
And Xander's like, hi, we have an apocalypse to stop. Yeah. Like, do you mind? Do you want to help? And she's like, okay. Yeah. but I'm just saying. This is so like Buffy. So she's upset that...
Buffy's very selfish and self-centered and everything's about her.
Yeah.
God.
Really? Kettle, black, But she does stay to help. Because she is going to be at graduation, so I guess she's trying to save her own hide. So at the mansion, Angel is still ill and sweaty and kind of hallucinating.
Hallucinating that Willow is Buffy.
Yeah, so we kind of get, obviously he thinks that Willow is Buffy, and he starts like, I was wrong, like, I can't leave, and all this. So he's changing his mind about leaving.
Yep.
And then Willow's like, oh, okay, oh, hi, you think I'm Buffy? No, it's not. And he comes to a little bit.
Yeah.
And then falls asleep. And then Willow goes out and Oz is there. And they're just like really happy that they boned.
They're very cute and schmoopy. It was the best night of her life.
Yeah. She's like, everything is horrible for everyone, but we boned. So like, I'm happy. And they're like, started making out in there. And then Buffy comes in.
They're
like,
very in love.
Can you guys not? Can you guys not right now? She comes in and they like fly apart. And obviously Faith isn't there. So Buffy has to say, yeah, like Faith didn't work. Didn't happen. And so she asked them to leave so she can be alone with Angel because obviously like, he's getting worse. So I think they think she's just going to be there to say goodbye to him.
Yeah. And they should have stayed to know she was going to be stupid and make stupid mistakes. Jesus,
I was wondering
Buffy.
what your thoughts. We'll get to that when we get there. We're almost there. So Buffy goes in and wakes Angel up and says like tells him that the cure she has a cure, and he automatically says it's okay, like I'm ready to go, like he's ready to die. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. And then she tells him that the cure is a blood of a slayer, and that he has to do it. And he's like, well, what about Faith? She said, I killed her. I don't have her. Like I failed. And then she tries to convince him to take her blood.
And he's like, no.
Yeah, he tries to get up and get away from her.
She can't ask him to do this. So she hits him repeatedly until he vamps and then loses his self-control a bit. And it only takes
shoves his face in her neck.
Yep.
And then, he like loses control for a second and it does bite her.
And then he can't stop, obviously.
He can't stop. She's trying to be like, okay, like that's enough. But she eventually loses consciousness.
Yep. He overpowers her and he just like goes to town on her neck.
And that one shot when she's like, we like zoom in on her eyes and her eyes are just kind of like lifeless and she has like a tear coming out and it's like coming away from her and like zooming out away from her body and like he's just like on her neck.
That's creepy.
You're like, oh God.
He's just like, he feverishly and painfully drinks her. Like it's just so, it's very violent actually.
Yeah, and so he eventually gets off of her, and he's cured immediately.
Great, good job, Angel.
Buffy is unconscious.
Almost looking dead, basically.
Yeah, not looking good. He obviously took too much blood. Yep. So at the hospital, Angel rushes in with Buffy and gives her to one of the doctors, saying that something bit her. She needs a blood transfusion.
The doctor's like, are you guys on drugs? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
As doctors do in the ER. This is weird.
Yeah. And he like just rips something off. He like rips a handle off the wall and he's like, okay, what are you guys on? Yep. So he lets the doctor take care of Buffy and he goes out to call Giles, we're assuming, on the phone. And right across the hallway.
So convenient.
Yes, it is. Faith is in a hospital bed and like looking pretty bruised and battered. And the doctor is telling the mayor, so obviously they found her at the hospital, and the doctor is telling the mayor that she had kidney damage, which is probably from the stabbing, but that was repairable. Yep. The real issue was when she had her head injury when she fell from the building.
Yeah, she has too much head trauma.
Yeah, and that's unlikely. Won't
regain consciousness.
Yeah, unlikely that she'll ever regain consciousness. And the mayor is like, oh my God, like he's really upset by this. Yeah, and he just like is like playing with her hair and just like patting her little head. And then the nurse comes in and says that
there's another young girl with another young lady here with
blood loss. Yeah, I'm like, we need your help, doctor. And he's like, okay, like I'll be right there. And he's like, obviously Buffy, and he's assuming that these are like probably injuries that Faith gave Buffy in like their fight. So yeah, he walks over there and yeah, it's Buffy in the bed and he tries to smother her. Tries to kill her there.
Just with his bare hand.
Yeah, he just, because Buffy's unconscious, so she
and
really
the nurse tries
back.
to come in and stop him and she can't.
Yeah, he's too strong. But thankfully, Angel comes in and like grabs him off of him and throws him, and the mayor like freaks out, like, I'm gonna make you and your whore pay and all this stuff. Like, he is really angry, very emotional. He does not have it together like usual. And Angel kind of shoves him, and then he like gets his like composure back. And then he has that weird, he
snaps out of it,
weird chipperness that he usually has. And he's just like, oh yeah, just wait until like graduation, like this is all gonna go down and everything. And then he ends up leaving the hospital.
Angel's like, I'll be there.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a showdown.
This scene was interesting. So Giles and the Scoobies arrive, and so like Angel's like, if I heard this correctly, he says Faith put Buffy in a coma. I think that's what he said. But he admits that he fed off of her. And
does he say that?
I swear he said, oh, Faith put Buffy in a coma, but I fed off her or something like that. Maybe I heard it wrong, but I was just like, what? But then he admitted that he fed off her, and Xander is so pissed. But he keeps his composure, and he basically just tells Angel he's selfish, and Giles is just like, get out of here.
Yeah, Giles is not impressed as he would be. I think he says that, maybe he says that Buffy put Faith in a coma?
Maybe.
Because they think it's Faith initially. Like, oh, Faith came back and, like, did something to Buffy. Because they didn't know that, like, Buffy had stabbed her and everything. So, yeah, he calls them there and says, she cured me. And I think the line Xander gives something is like, yeah, wow, nothing like to, like, of course I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to remember it now. Like, nothing like, feeding on the girl that loves you to save your own ass.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He said something like that. It was harsh.
And Giles, it's like, just leave. And he's like, no, I don't, just leave. So he does leave. And Xander's like, I'm going to miss that guy when he leaves town. Are you going to miss him? So Angel kind of just like slinks out of there all sad. And
as he should.
Yeah.
And it's not like completely his fault. Buffy shouldn't have done that, but geez, God.
So I guess it's a good time as any to talk about, like, what did you think about that? Buffy doing that, making that decision.
I guess I'm torn because I think it was pretty stupid of her to do that. Because, like, on the one hand, she obviously knew it wasn't going to end perfectly well. She had to have known, like, it wasn't just going to be able to drink a bit and stop and be like, okay, cured, great, I'm done now.
Yeah.
A part of her had to have known that. Like, she knew she was risking her life to do this. She could have died. Also, she's trying to prepare for this ascension thing, and she's taking away some of her health, her power, her strength to do that. So that's, I don't know.
And when he was like, you could die, and she's like, maybe not. Maybe if you don't take it all.
Yep. Exactly.
Like,
also, the cure thing they read said to drain this layer of her blood. So it did make it sound like she had to die. So I was kind of wondering at one point if it was going to be one of those situations where she dies yet again and they bring her back, but they didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he got pretty close enough to accomplish that. Yeah, it's interesting because this situation in particular is very, like, notable to me as far as, like, Buffy as someone that's still growing up, and, like, Buffy from, like, later seasons. Like, this is just something Buffy...
So you can compare them. I can't.
Yeah, I know. Like, there's, like, Buffy in, like, the later seasons would never have made this decision.
That's great.
She never would have done
she's
that.
Just, like, she's being young and stupid, I guess. Like I get it when you're in love with somebody and you think that they're your whole world, but, like, they'd already broken up and he was already going to be leaving, and they can't have a relationship together. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't work.
He
can't. He can't lose control around her.
Yeah, there's one, like, line. It's not spoilery, but it's from, like, a later episode where Buffy quotes saying, "No guy is worth your life, not ever." And, like, I feel like that's something that Buffy, like, doesn't understand at this point.
Nope,
in season
definitely
3.
not.
But like,
She's just so caught up in her love for him.
Yeah. She's blinded by it for sure.
Yes. Yes. It's bigger than everything else.
Yeah. So yeah, not a fan of the decision.
No. Me neither.
I don't think it's like romantic or anything.
No, I don't either. Like I empathize with it, but I don't agree, condone, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're like on the same page. Like,
yep. Yeah. It kind of made me mad.
Yeah. It wasn't great. Like,
well, like, yeah. And like I said, not just a risk of her life, obviously that, but like also the whole ascension thing, like you're putting that at risk. Like, what are you going to do if you're lying in a hospital trying to recuperate?
Or you just die. Who's going to
save everybody? Well, new Slayer, apparently.
Not that. I mean, geez, they'd have to get there pretty quickly, probably.
That's right. Yeah, that was my other question too. Like with Faith, I thought she was going to die in this episode, and I don't think she did die, but I'm like, if she dies, is there going to be another Slayer that comes around? Also, like, she's brain dead, they're kind of saying. So is that like a way of dying? Anyway.
She's not like medically dead, I would say. So she's in a coma. The official Slayer lineage is through Faith, not Buffy. So
wait, what?
Like the official Slayer lineage now is through Faith, not Buffy. So the only way, the only way to get a new Slayer is if Faith dies.
Oh, not if Buffy dies?
Yeah, because Buffy's already like skipped. It's already skipped Buffy.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it was like Buffy died, then it was Kendra, then it was Faith, and then it would keep going that way.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay.
So if Buffy like died for real and for good, nothing would happen if Faith was still alive.
Well, crap, that's not good.
Yeah. So
Faith better go before Buffy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so where did we leave off there?
We were going to be at Faith's house. Oh yeah, so Buffy's having some sort of interesting dream
question mark.
What do you want to call it?
Faith's apartment, air quotes, is the location.
Yeah. And then Buffy's asking who will look after the cat. I didn't realize there was a cat. Did you?
No, I don't think I've seen the cat before.
I thought that was a weird thing that they brought up.
Yeah, I mean, dreams. And there is like a little bit of nonsense riddles in here, but they are foreshadows, but you just can't obviously know the reason yet. So when Faith says Little Miss Muffet counting down from 730, that is like foreshadowing for 2 events in the future.
Like of the future of this episode?
No, of the show.
Oh, because I was like, what is this?
So when we get there, I will tell you. But
how far away is that? Like next season?
Season 5.
Oh my God, seriously?
Both of them are season 5.
Wait, they did that much foreshadowing? Okay. And then she also says human weakness never goes away.
Yeah, basically that is...
so that's a foreshadowing for this episode at least. Yeah,
just basically whatever like the best side of Faith that's in her coma is like basically telling her the mayor's weakness. Like it never goes away, like even though he's been alive for whatever and he's like kind of not... He's kind of supernatural or whatever. He was a human once, probably, and he still has a human weakness. So like that's
interesting, though. Like how, like she said it so briefly and so like it. I don't know. I didn't catch much from it other than human weakness never goes away. Like I just didn't really catch on to how that could help Buffy. But Buffy obviously understood.
Yeah. So and she's basically giving her a hint to the mayor.
I thought it was interesting how Buffy's like, is this your mind or my mind?
Yeah. And I read that Joss Whedon said that it's Buffy's dream.
Okay.
But obviously there's some like interesting Slayer mind meld going on.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because you can really tell from stuff that Faith says, because she talks about like scar tissue and like, oh, there's a lot of new things going on in my head because she has brain damage and stuff. So I think it is Faith. So yeah, it's an interesting little like melding Slayer connection thing.
I thought it was interesting too at the end how Faith was like, she basically tells Buffy to take what she needs and then she starts to guide Buffy back to reality, back to present,
consciousness,
consciousness. Yes, I'll take that. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So she like just touches her cheek and says, "Are you ready?" And then Buffy wakes up.
Yeah. But it's just like for her to say, "Take what you need." It was just like, that's like, I felt like she was being old Faith, kind Faith that doesn't,
Well, she definitely was like a decent person in the scene for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was like just like the best part of her, like the part of her that actually did want to be good and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Buffy wakes up and gets up and it's like she knows that Faith is there, and walks into the other room and kisses Faith on the forehead, just like in Enemies when Faith kissed Buffy on the forehead.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they have that, like, they still like have that
connection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So sisterly bond.
Yeah, even though they hate each other. So Buffy walks out into the waiting room where everyone is and basically says that she's ready for war.
Mm-hmm. So they're at the library. And Buffy asks if her plan is crazy.
Yeah, we come in after the plan is talked about. We don't know what the plan is. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know what it is, and that the plan is crazy. Cordelia's like, yeah, that's insane. Giles is like, yep, that's crazy, and everyone thinks it's nuts. But we do find out that Xander is a key figure.
Yeah, because of his previous that
in Halloween,
the nightmare episode where they changed it. Or no, yeah, the Halloween episode.
The Halloween episode.
Into,
yeah, they changed into their costumes, and he
was like a military general or something like that.
He was a soldier. Yeah. So he's remembering he still has all that military knowledge, which it's weird that he doesn't like use that more often. Like we haven't, I think it's like once since this, so this is like the second time.
This is the second time, yep.
That's happened. I feel like he could have used that more often. But anyway, yeah. So weirdly, Xander is a key figure in this. And Giles says, like, it's also a crucial thing is that you can control the mayor. If you can't control the mayor, then, like, this whole plan isn't going to work. And Buffy says, like, yeah, I have to, like, get to his human weakness. And they're trying to, like, think of what that is. I thought it was, like, completely obvious from the moment that happened. It's been obvious for episodes and episodes that...
Wait, what his human weakness is?
That Faith is his weakness.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because they're, like, germs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cordelia's like, we can just put a box and write Ebola on it and throw it at him.
That was really funny.
And he'll freak out when then we can try to kill him. She's like, or you don't have to be real Ebola, just a box with it written on it. And you don't know the difference. And then Angel says it's Faith.
Yeah.
Which is, like, pretty obvious. But I guess it took a minute for them to figure that out. And so at this point, Wesley comes in. Buffy's like, don't want to hear it. Not interested. And he says, I'm just here to help. Like, I'm not here on behalf of the council or anything. So he just wants to help with what's going on. So she brings him into the fold. We'll get this kind of like montage. Mayor gang montage where they're both preparing their plans. The mayor, we see him telling his like vampire horde that they have to contain people because people are going to start running and for the change to be complete, he needs to eat a lot, like right when he changes. So he needs to like make sure people don't get away. And then Wesley and them are talking about how like there's going to be an eclipse, so that way the vampires can be like
of course
there.
It puts Angel back in the game though, at least. So Xander and Angel are to work together.
Working together. He's like, but I'm still key guy, right? She's like, yes. Then Angel in his non-key guy capacity can work with me.
Work for me.
Yeah. So, and Giles is talking about, like, he's gonna, like, take care of, like, the volcano. Like, their version of the volcano. Like, the big boom that's going to, like, kill the mayor. And then he loaded a lot of weapons. So there's all these, like, little, like, interesting pieces that aren't really fitting together.
I have no idea what's going on yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and this is where Buffy says she needs something, so she's gonna leave. Yep. At school, we see Xander talks to Harmony. He's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And she says, like, in front of other people? But yes. And then Willow goes to talk to Percy. So, like, they're, like, going to these different groups in the school and, like, talking about something. In Oz's van, we see Larry and Jonathan. Is like, I tried to pause it and see what this stuff was, but it's, like, just bags. Big bags of, like, stuff. They're loading it from Oz's van. And... they let them make them take it somewhere, and then Oz and Willow are left in the van, and like Willow's freaking out again, and Oz is like, okay, cool, kissing. Let's just do it again. Let's do it again. So now Willow is the last one to lose her virginity, but she's done it the most now. Because Buffy and Xander only had a oneer with their people.
So there was an interesting scene in the library where Wesley tells Cordelia that he's going to be going back to England.
Oh, this scene.
Yeah, and then, like, he's no longer going to be working on the council, so there's no place for him to stay. And then they kiss, and then they stop, and then they kiss, and then they stop, and then she's like, good luck in England. So does that mean they didn't like the kissing? Like, was it just bad, or, like, what happened?
I mean, did you see the kissing?
It was weird. It was awkward. It was super awkward.
awful.
It was awful.
So hard to watch. They're like,
but then they did it twice though. So
I think they were like, let's try again. Like maybe that was a fluke. It was just like no chemistry, very awkward. Felt nothing when they actually kissed each other. Like, I think they were revolted by it actually. And they were like, okay, you know, that was a build up and did not pay off. So they just go back to what they were doing. So
interesting. So no Cordelia and Wesley.
No.
So is he going back to England then?
Mm.
Oh, Ashley, you're the worst with these no spoilers, man.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's not going to be with Cordelia. I'll tell you that much.
It's fair, okay.
So in Giles's office, Buffy and Angel are talking about they need more weapons and that, you know, people are on it, like trying to collect the weapons. And Angel tells Buffy kind of abruptly that he's not going to say goodbye after.
Of course, he's got to be a jerk about it.
He's like, you know, if we survive, I'm just going to leave. Like, it's just too hard.
Why does he do this?
I think he thinks this is too hard. Like, it'll be easier on them if he just slips away.
Just saying goodbye is like the nice thing to do, though. Just suck it up. It's one more thing. God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so Buffy's hurt by that.
Of course she is.
And just like, I can't even go there right now. Like,
just
I can't.
Gave you my life and you can't even say goodbye, jerkhole.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and yeah, she's just like, I can't go there. Like, I have to focus on this hand. And she has face knife. So he's her blood and face blood is still on it. So it is graduation day and we're in the quad. So like pretty much all the rest of the episode happens. Yeah. Yep. Everybody's getting seated. Snyder goes up to Snyder is pretty funny.
He's so funny. He's still trying to control everybody. Like, let it go. Stop chewing that gum.
Yeah. He's like, I saw that gesture. See me after graduation.
Yeah. Come on. Sure.
I saw that gesture. Oh, it cracked me up. And then we see Oz and Willow running in late. They had their little afternoon van delight. And so Snyder brings the mayor up to do his speech. And he's like doing the speech. And Buffy's like, oh my God, he's going to do the whole speech. He's like, how evil. Making us listen to this whole speech.
So boring.
Yeah.
He's talking about the centennial 100-year anniversary, the founding of Sunnydale.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, the sun disappears. Ooh. The sun disappears, and then the mayor starts, like, kind of, like, hunching over in, like, pain and, like, He tries to keep going on with the speech, but then it, like, happens again. And then, then we just see, like, some state-of-the-art for 1999.
Oh, was it ever? Oh, my.
For 1999, transformation special effects where he turns into this, like, big snake demon thing. Pretty huge. Biggest demon we've seen, for sure.
So, and then Buffy yells now, and everybody pulls off their caps and gowns and, like, gets ready to fight.
All the students are in on it.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah? Is that a good surprise?
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Especially, and I think that if we didn't have, like, the class protector scene, this would have been like, what?
Yes, exactly. So this was a nice nod to that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
It made sense. It only made sense because they had that scene where everybody was like, oh yeah, we like know what's happening here.
Yep. Yep.
And I love how the parents all try to run without their kids because the kids don't run. The parents all try to run and are stopped by like vampires. So the vampires are like controlling the perimeter to make sure that nobody gets away.
Yeah.
And so the students are fighting. They have flamethrowers. They have bowmen.
Yeah.
So Xander is kind of like calling all of the shots about like first wave flamethrowers and like telling everyone what to do when.
They're all coordinated.
Yeah. So everybody's just kind of, kind of trying to fight the mayor, but like kind of keep him at bay. And they're fighting.
And also trying to fight the vampires. Angel gets in to fight the vampires and he does some decent damage. Yeah,
more students and Angel join the fray. But we have our first RIP.
Casualty?
Yeah. Well, it's Larry. Because Larry had one of the flamethrowers and it breaks and he tries to grab something else. And then like the mayor's tail comes and like whacks him and he just like...
Oh yeah, and he just hits his head. Yeah.
Dead.
That's sad.
I was like, no, Larry. I grew to like Larry. He was such an asshole for a long time. But once he found himself, he could like be nice again.
Good. He was a good guy.
I felt bad for him. And then Snyder is like, I'm not having this. He goes up and starts yelling at the mayor. So the mayor just eats him. So R.I.P. Snyder.
That was
the second
a great
person.
scene. Bye.
Yeah. And Buffy's like, oh God, he just got eaten. Like, can't believe it. So things are getting serious here, and she has everybody like, fall back.
Yeah.
And they start like fighting the vampires instead of the mayor. Buffy's
gonna hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, hand-to-hand combat with all kinds of different.
I see like Cordelia staked a vampire.
Cordelia stakes a vampire for the first time, and
nice.
That's what was a request by Charisma Carpenter. Like, I have not. Everyone's been staked a vampire, but me. And she's like, I want to stake a vampire in this episode.
That's awesome. Okay.
She was given that.
Okay.
She was able to stake them.
Good for her.
And R.I.P. Harmony. Harmony get bit by a vampire.
Yeah.
And I can say she does die.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. Harmony. So those are the three named. I guess people that die.
What did I guess? Anya, and she didn't even show back up, so she really did leave.
Yeah, she was like, bye. You said Anya, Wesley, and Oz, right? Or
did I say Oz? No.
Oh, I thought you said Oz.
No. Oh, I did. You're right. Oh. Okay.
Wesley would have been, out of the three, Wesley was a good guess. So yeah.
I have a feeling he's not going to be around after this.
Mm-hmm. So Buffy kind of taunts the mayor. She goes up there and
shows
pulls out
Faith's weapon that he got her.
Yeah, and she's like, I stuck this in her gut and it just went into her like butter. And he's like,
and she runs.
Yeah, she runs and he's really mad, so he like slithers after her, chases her without legs. And basically he's just like bursting through walls and everything. He's super strong and she's running.
Does this remind you of did you watch the movie Shrek?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's been a long time.
There's a scene in Shrek where Shrek at the beginning of the movie finds the princess in the tower and then the dragon is going to get him. So this scene happens basically where he runs through all the hallways and the dragon chases him and then
okay.
To the dragon's demise to capture anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So she runs into the library and then out through the stacks. So she just keeps going and the mayor gets into the library and notices that it's full of like explosives. They rigged this huge bomb. Oops. And honestly, I hated what they did with the mayor at this point. When he like talks.
Did he talk?
Well, gee. Did you hear him?
Oh, no. I did not.
Yeah.
I think I was too furiously writing. I missed that. So I'm okay with this. All I wrote was like,
well, gosh, or something.
MC's flammable. B jumps from window and G pushes thingy to ignite.
Yeah. Yeah. He sees everything and is like, oh gosh. And he says terrible. It. And then I hated that part.
Okay. I missed it.
And then, so you're lucky. I should have not even mentioned it and it would have been better. Yeah. And then, who is it? Giles is out in the back behind the school and detonates it. And like pretty much the entire school explodes.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for Sunnydale High.
That's their modern volcano that blows the mayor up.
Yeah, that was pretty clever, though. I mean, the fact that they were able to organize that within a few short hours was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it was like chemistry. It's just chemistry, which is true. So they got all their... It's not that hard to make a bomb, which is kind of scary. So, yeah, they just needed like enough of it. They just needed enough of it to kill him.
Wesley, so now like we go to the aftermath. Wesley's on a stretcher asking for pain meds for what?
Well, we saw him charged in with Angel. He immediately got smacked in the face and then laid on the ground the entire time. And now he's on a stretcher. He's
fine. Jesus.
Now he's on a stretcher.
Such a baby.
Being like, can I have some aspirin? Oh, I'm in pain. But hey, he did come back and fight. Oh,
Sure. Great. I'd be okay if we never saw him again.
Okay, poor Wesley. Can't win.
I like how, and Xander says, it seems like they got off pretty cheap.
Yeah, considering how bad it could have been.
Could have been.
And Buffy's kind of like looking around, half listening to him, and obviously he can tell she's looking for Angel.
Mm-hmm.
And says like he did survive, but I guess he just slipped away.
Split. Yep.
Yeah. And then Giles comes over and says, she did a great job with the campaign, and she's kind of just like, I haven't processed anything. Like at this point, I'm kind of like, fire bad, tree pretty. Like that's like, she is like, her operating system is like, like running on the very basic things.
Fumes.
Yeah, running on fumes. And he saved her diploma
It was really cute.
From the rubble.
He ferreted it. He ferreted around for it.
That was so cute.
Yeah, that was really cute. She earned it.
Yeah. So I like that he gave her thing and her diploma, and now he's gonna go see if Wesley's okay. So he takes off to go see Wesley. And then Buffy's just standing there, and she does see Angel in the distance, like amongst like the ambulances and the smoke and everything. Angel is there, and they just like have like they do have a kind of like a goodbye. They just like stare at each other.
Staring goodbye.
Yeah, a long distance staring
Quiet goodbye.
And Angel just turns around and walks away, and then like the smoke comes in and he's gone.
Okay, and I'm also okay if I never see him again now too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like that he was helped. Like, I mean, he helps a lot, but like he also did a lot of damage. So
we will talk more about that stuff next week.
Okay.
So the Scoobies kind of assembles again back in front of the school, and they're all kind of like, wow, like that was a lot.
Yeah,
but we did awesome too. We kicked some demon ass. Yeah. And like when Oz says, oh man, we survived.
Yeah.
And Buffy says, yeah, it was a hell of a battle. And he's like, no, not that.
High school.
We survived high school. Yeah. Like, oh yeah. It's true. I mean, that was good. High school is hell for a lot of people, so it makes sense. I mean, the whole show is a metaphor for high school, so this is like perfect. This like came together perfectly there. Yeah, and they're like, oh, I'm so tired. But feels just wake me up when it's time to go to college. And they just kind of like all start walking away. And the season ends on one of the yearbooks, the 1999 class of 1999 yearbook. And that's the end of the season. So my favorite quote was, congratulations to the class of 1999. You all proved more or less adequate. This is a time of celebration, so sit still and be quiet.
Nice.
Snyder went out with a bang, I would say. He had some really funny lines in this episode. Yeah. Even though he is no longer with us.
I'm not going to miss him either.
Yeah, do not become the principal of this school. You will be eaten alive.
Oh yeah, this is the second time now. Oh God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm sure that Snyder's was less painful than Flutie's.
It's quicker.
Yeah, quicker. So yeah, and then my favorite scene was like when the students were fighting back. Like the whole school was like helping save the world and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. My favorite line was when they're sitting there. Buffy and Willow are sitting there, and the mayor starts giving his speech, and Buffy's like, "Oh my God, he's actually giving the whole speech," and Willow's like, "Man, just ascend already." That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like, do you really want that though?
Actually, let's just get this over with. It's like, I can get it though. It's like something that you're dreading. You're like, just go. Let's just do it. Let's just get it over with.
Yep.
Get it started. Yeah, that was great. That was funny. Send already.
And then same favorite scene, the fighting, where everybody got together and they coordinated and they beat the bad guy.
Yeah, I loved that. Okay, so my stake rating was a 4.6.
Okay.
I actually, we were on the same page. I said it was resolved. The mayor was resolved a bit too fast for me.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, look at my knife. Boom. I don't know. I don't have an answer for what they could have done, but I wish it would have been a little bit less quickly resolved. I like that Faith was still present in this episode. Mm-hmm. Like physically, or maybe not physically, in the dream. And also like as a concept or whatever, because like she was the key to destroying him. Because he cared about her too much.
Yeah.
And he's the only thing he got emotional about. So then he was able to like play into her trap. So I like that Faith still played a role in this, because she was like such a big part of the season and stuff. So I'm glad she wasn't just like, okay, she got stabbed, she's in a coma, and then it was like the rest of the episode that had nothing to do with her. So I like how they like did put like integrate her into all this. Yeah, and like I said a little bit earlier, like it's the end of a chapter. Like this is like really the end of their childhood. Really, like so it definitely, the rest of the series is like a bit different. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's a big one for that reason, if nothing else.
Yeah. Same. I liked how they tied up a lot of loose ends. Like although Faith is still coming, we're not really sure what's going to happen with that. Like, I feel like that was tying up a loose end still in itself. The closure with the Ascension, because that was like a big part of the whole season.
Yeah.
And like how the students all banded together to fight. That was really cool if we could do that together. Yeah, and Wesley and Cordelia, even that was resolved.
That kiss.
Yeah. And then Angel and Buffy, like he's leaving, that got resolved. Like I just felt like it tied up a lot of loose ends, which was really great. Like we didn't end on a cliffhanger or, and then yeah, just the end where Oz is like, we survived high school. Like that was a perfect way to end the episode.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment all on its own without the Ascension.
Like it just made the, like, I mean, obviously the Ascension thing was a huge deal, but like high school, like the whole thing was a huge deal. And like look at all the stuff they did. And now they're ready to move on to the next chapter of their lives.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
And there will be vampires still.
And other demons, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of things are going to change, but there will still be vampires and demons.
Yeah.
All right, so that's season 3. Can you believe it? All right. So season 4, which I think is the funniest season, personally.
But it's not your favorite season.
But it's not my favorite season overall. Season 4 is very funny. It does have like one episode that is like, if you're like looking through all the episodes ranked, it's going to be in like the top 4, probably.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, season 4 is really funny. I like it. But we're not for just the first episode called The Freshman. This is your question.
The Freshman.
So what is Buffy's security blanket? Everybody like has that thing that gives them comfort. So what is her security blanket?
Mr. Pointy.
Quick answer. Okay.
Better not be that stupid Clawdaw ring.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the Clawdaw ring, but we'll see.
Mr. Pointy.
We'll see in The Freshman.
Okay.
And one last thing before we go, check out our Instagram. Our giveaway details will be up when this episode airs. So check it out. We will run it for a week. And then, the day that the postmortem comes out, we will post who won on Instagram. So make sure you go over there and check it out. So that wraps up Season 3, Episode 22, Graduation Day Part 2. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with the Season 3 postmortem. See you real soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.